And Sullivan continues writing, the crown represents something from the ancient past, a logically indefensible but emotionally salient symbol of something called a nation, something that gives its members meaning and happiness.
This is what pisses me off about Andrew Sullivan. He says things like monarchy is logically indefensible. To me, that's cringe. But I understand it's considered like politically correct or whatever.
Why? It's cringe because you disagree with
However
it?
shitty the...
I mean, no, it's not cringe because I disagree with it, although I do. It's cringe because it's so extreme.
Yeah, it's hard for me to cringe because that's just apparently it's like the standard to make statements like that left and right. So
That monarchy is logically indefensible.
the statements on that level of extreme, yes, are very, very common in the work that these kinds of men do. You do it all the time, make statements with that level of extremity. That's like a low bar of extremeness for the things you be saying.
The context matters. Most of what matters is the context.
What? It's extreme for him to say that in the context of the Queen dying recently?
No, just in the context of a relatively successful, historically speaking, form of government amongst humans. To say that it's logically indefensible, to me, it's just an incomprehensible statement. Like, it's incomprehensibly extreme and overgeneralized.
I don't necessarily think so. I do think that handing down a empire to your son just because it's your son is not very defensible logically. So I can understand how someone can make that statement and it not be incorrect.
Well, I do think it's the case that isn't the only way to do monarchy, but...
Okay, but that is the typical way of doing monarchy.
Yeah, I agree.
And I do think that that's one of the biggest criticisms of monarchy.
It's certainly my biggest criticism of monarchy.
So, all I'm saying is I can understand why someone would make the statement that monarchy is logically indefensible, because there are major aspects of it that are logically indefensible.
Dude, of course I understand why someone would say that. I'm just saying I cringe when I hear things that are that overgeneralized and extreme.
I don't know how overgeneralized it is.
Okay, well, maybe I'll get an opportunity to ask Andrew Sullivan that question myself and then see what he says.
Shouldn't you know how overgeneralized it is since you're making the stance that it's overgeneralized? What do you need to ask him for? What question are you talking about asking him? Obviously not whether or not it's overgeneralized, the statement. You already believe it is.
I would ask him of whether or not he thinks it is. I would challenge him in that way.
I'm guessing he doesn't think it's overgeneralizing, which is why he said it.
No, I think he's perfectly open to being challenged on things that he has said publicly, and I think he's open to reflecting on those things and changing his mind too.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I would expect his answer to be, no, I don't think it was an overgeneralization. I think you should expect that too.
I would expect that to be his gut reaction and more likely than not his final reaction, but I don't think that means it's not worth me saying.
I didn't say, don't ask him the question.
Okay.
I'm just saying, you better have more in mind than just the question, because he's probably just going to say, no, it was an overgeneralization. So,
the economy,
Okay.
thing that gives its members meaning and habitable of something called a nation, something that gives its members. And Sullivan continues in the crown represents something from the ancient past, a logically indefensible but emotionally salient symbol of something called a nation.
salient.
He means it's logically, what he literally is saying is it's logically indefensible, but emotionally defensible. Which I just completely disagree that emotions aren't a form of logic. So that's the problem there. And when I say a form of logic, I mean a valid form of logic.
Is this the word he's using?
Yep. But he's not using it. He's not using that definition of it. He's using.
What definition?
He's using it to mean valid.
He's not using it to mean important, main, principal, major, chief, primary, notable. He's not using it to mean those things.
I do not think he is, no.
So he's using the word incorrectly.
I believe so, yes. But most people do. Most people misuse that word, if that's the definition.
This is the first time I've heard anyone use it in my life.
Indefensible.
At least that I've noticed.
I've heard many people use it, and I don't remember a single one of them using it to mean what the definition just said.
The crown represents something from the ancient past, a logically indefensible but emotionally salient symbol of something called a nation.
You have much more experience with the word, so you can project your own experience onto how he's using it. I don't. I just have to take it at fucking face value, the way he's using it.
Fair enough, but that's rough for him.
Indefensible but emotionally salient symbol of something called an.
That's not possible. Something cannot be logically indefensible and emotionally important.
Logically indefensible, but emotionally important or primary. That makes no sense.
That just means that your instincts can be your instincts can be logically completely wrong in every way. No,
obviously
that's not the case.
Possible.
No,
but what the fuck he said technically rests on that logical premise, which is obvious bullshit. Hi, I am Andrew Sullivan, guys. I'm gay.